Minute rounds. Mr. Pemberton, I'm going to start with you. Critics claim the Trump administration didn't need to mobilize the National Guard in D.C. because D.C.'s crime decreased by 35% in 2024. You've suggested that statistic was falsely inflated. In the House Oversight Committee, D.C. Chairman Mendelson said that you're lying. Is the 35% statistic inflated, and what is your response to Chairman Mendelson? And then also connected with that, do you think this is a common problem with crime statistics?
Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps us spread the truth, keep these important conversations alive, and push back against the narratives that too often go unchallenged.
Yeah, thank you for that question, Chairman. What's interesting is when Chairman Mendelson referred to me as a liar in that congressional testimony, there was public information about, one, the Internal Affairs Division at the Metropolitan Police Department had publicly announced that they were investigating command staff officials for manipulating crime data. The accusation was that they were going into police databases, changing felonies to misdemeanors to keep crime numbers down. Second of all, at that time, the House Oversight Committee had also announced that they had launched an investigation into the manipulation of crime data as well. And in their public notice of that, it stated that they had a whistleblower within the department that confirmed this pattern of practice. And thirdly, the Department of Justice, through the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C., had also announced that they were investigating whether or not there were violations of the criminal code in the manipulation of crime data. So to suggest that my allegations that crime data is manipulated was somehow a lie, I believe that's belied by the facts that were already in evidence. So unfortunately, I think the irony is lost on Mr. Mendelson. But your question is, do I believe that crime data was inflated? Yes, I think that the police department, through its initial reporting, our members report to us quite often, albeit anecdotal, but I will tell you that it's ubiquitous. That when officers respond to the scene of a crime and they're investigating what they believe is a felony, that inevitably some management official will contact them either by arriving on the scene or by phone and direct them or sometimes even order them to take a report for lesser offenses, typically misdemeanors, to keep those crime stats down. In addition to that, there's obviously, as I mentioned, a number of investigations into the command staff for their manipulation of data. So yes, I think that the reporting that crime went down 35% in 2024 and then another 25% in the first 6 months of 2025, I don't think that those numbers are accurate at all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mrs. Cook, you read an impact statement at the sentencing of your grandson. Please explain what the judge said after you read your statement, and do you feel that justice was served?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. We read our impact statements. So let me tell you, Marty was so loving my family. We had at least 30 impact statements. And after we read them, she said to us, "Thank you for your impact statements." She looks over at the, I say killer. She looks over at him and she says, "Is there anything you'd like to say?" His attorney stood up and said some things, but she says to him when she asks him, "Is there anything he'd like to say?" "I know you had a stressful day after listening to all of that. Is there anything you'd like to say?" No, we did not receive justice. He was given consecutively or concurrently with the time that he was charged with guns and drugs, 10 years. Okay, so concurrently, so he had already did 4. So now how many years does that mean? That he get 5 years probation or on parole? So how many years does he actually do in jail? This is a heinous murder that he committed. He shot my grandson 7 times. He left the room and my grandson moaned. He went back in there and shot him more.
Thank you, Mrs. Cook.
Thank you.
Senator Taylor, many on the left have pushed for further gun regulation to combat violent crime. We're seeing on these soft on crime cities. What are your thoughts about gun ownership? In your opinion, are more regulations needed to keep our communities safe?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What I would say is that we need to remember the purpose of the Second Amendment was not about what kind of guns we can have, it was about what kind of government we can have. And what citizens in Memphis are fearful of are the guns that are on the streets by people that shouldn't have them. If you take, for example, Mr. Chairman, this picture here, this is a group of young men in a convenience store posing with long guns and handguns so that they can have a picture for social media. It's these type of pictures that I want to try to stress, because they don't have these guns because we don't have enough regulations. They have these guns because they don't follow the law. And we can pass all the gun laws you want, but criminals are criminals by nature. And we've had that problem since Cain slew Abel with a rock. And we don't need to continue to put restrictions on law-abiding citizens who just simply want to protect themselves in their homes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Taylor.
Now, let's talk about what is really happening when it comes to crime statistics, justice, and the ongoing debate about gun rights in America. We often hear claims from Democratic leaders that crime is going down, that their policies are working, and that communities are becoming safer. But when you take a closer look, the story is not so simple. Reports have surfaced showing that crime numbers in certain cities were allegedly manipulated. Felonies were downgraded to misdemeanors, serious offenses were reclassified, and officers were even pressured to file lesser charges in order to make the numbers look good. Think about what that means. Instead of confronting crime honestly, leadership in these cities seems more interested in appearances. They want to say, look, crime is down under our watch, but the reality on the ground is very different. This is not just an issue of numbers. This is an issue of public trust. If families cannot believe the statistics that are put in front of them, how can they feel secure in their communities? One powerful testimony came from a grandmother who lost her grandson to a brutal act of violence. She described how her family poured their hearts into victim impact statements, only to watch a judge hand down a light sentence that ran concurrently with other charges. 10 years for a heinous crime, with much of that time already accounted for. Where is the justice in that? Families are left wondering why the system values the rights of criminals more than the lives of innocent victims. This is the very definition of being soft on crime. And let's be clear, these are not isolated mistakes. They reveal a deeper problem with the left's approach to criminal justice. When the emphasis is always on leniency, rehabilitation, and reducing prison populations at any cost, the result is predictable. Dangerous people are back on the streets, victims feel ignored, and law-abiding citizens lose faith in the system that is supposed to protect them. Now contrast that with the way conservatives approach these issues. The right understands that law and order are the foundations of a free society. We believe in accountability, in ensuring that punishment fits the crime, and in standing firmly on the side of victims rather than offenders. This brings us to the ongoing debate over gun rights. Democrats insist that the answer to violence is more regulations, more restrictions, and more limits placed on law-abiding citizens. But let us remember why the Second Amendment exists in the first place. It was never about hunting, and it was never about sport. It was about ensuring that the people could defend themselves, not only from criminals, but from any government that might overstep its bounds. Criminals, by definition, do not follow the law. You can pass every regulation under the sun, but the gangs posing in convenience stores with long guns and handguns are not obtaining those weapons legally. They are breaking the law to get them. So who ends up paying the price? It is the single mother who wants to protect her children. It is the elderly couple who want to feel safe in their own home. It is the law-abiding American who is forced to jump through hoops while criminals carry on without a care. This is where the Democratic Party consistently misses the mark. They focus on restrictions that tie the hands of the responsible while doing little to stop the lawless. Instead of cracking down on manipulation of crime data, they pretend success. Instead of delivering justice to grieving families, they hand down light sentences. Instead of empowering Americans to defend themselves, they seek to weaken the very right that guarantees our safety and liberty. The question we should be asking is simple. Who benefits from these policies? Certainly not the victims of violent crime. Certainly not the families who have lost loved ones. Certainly not the citizens who just want to live in peace. The only ones who benefit are the politicians who get to claim victory with their doctored statistics and the criminals who find themselves back on the streets sooner than they should. This is why conservatives must continue to speak up. We must demand honesty in crime reporting, real accountability in sentencing, and the preservation of the rights guaranteed by the Constitution. America is safer, freer, and stronger when we stand for truth, justice, and the principles that made this country great. If you agree with this message, do not forget to subscribe, share this video with others, and help us spread the word. Together, we can make sure that the voices of law-abiding Americans are louder than the empty promises of failed policies.